What's up everyone? We're First in Flight. As you know, we just got back from our first United States tour with Finish Ticket, and there's a lot that we learned on the road. Today, we're gonna share with you the top 8 things we learned on tour. Let's get started.
One very important thing to keep in mind when you're going on the road is don't underestimate the amount of driving that you'll be doing. So it's important to plan accordingly. So either have a driver. We were lucky enough to, for the last leg of the tour, have my brother come in and help us out with driving, but we don't always have the luxury of that. For most of the tour, all of us guys split up the driving between 2.5 to 3 hour bursts, because some days we'd be driving for 10 hours. And splitting it up and being efficient with our time and our driving schedules made it a lot easier to be on the road.
When you go on tour, you have to remember that it's a job. It's not a vacation. You're gonna go to these cities, showing up to the venue to play, and that's pretty much how it is. We went around the country for a whole month. We only really saw maybe 3 cities where we were able to actually spend some time in. For a lot of them, we just rolled up to the venue, played, and rolled back out to the hotel or wherever it is that we were staying. So if you want to see some cities, you always gotta plan ahead of time. Lot some time, go there early, see what you want to see, because again, it's a job.
One of the most annoying things when you're traveling is the toll roads. There are so many different kinds of tolls you have to pay going through each state of the country. There's the I-Pass, the Easy Pass, the Sun Pass, the Fast Pass, the Behind the Back Pass. Just kidding, that's a sports term. But seriously, if you do not have these passes before you leave, you end up paying $1, $2, $3, sometimes as much as $5 or $6 every time you pass through. It's a huge expense and we totally didn't see it coming.
Saving money often comes with the need to be open-minded. With 3 weeks on the road, we could have spent a ton of money on hotels and stayed in a hotel every evening. And some nights we did do that. We stayed in a couple hotels and it was really nice. But if you're gonna try to save money on your lodging, and if you have the privilege of staying with some friends and family throughout the country, as well as supplementing that with Airbnbs and other arrangements, you have to be open-minded. There was nights when we were on queen beds and we were sharing them. There was a night when there was a king bed, and I think Pat got it all to himself. But there was other nights when we were just on hardwood floors and carpet floors, on couches and sofas and recliners, on a cot. We had to be open-minded because we slept in a variety of locations, but that was all to save money, and it came with the opportunity to see friends and family around the country.
When you head out, try and check the weather for some of the places that you're going. We were around the country, the weather was totally different. It was like 90% humid. I prepared for it. I brought tank tops and I wore that for almost all of it. Even there was times where it rained where I didn't know it was gonna rain. I didn't expect it to rain, and it did. And I still was wearing my tank top. So you wanna be prepared for all weathers, because you never know how it's gonna be.
It's also very important to have your personal electronics in order. And what I mean by that is it's very hard to get like personal space when you're locked inside of a car for 10 hours at a time. So having your headphones, power banks, your laptops, all your mobile devices charged and just ready and prepared and everything. Because sometimes those headphones are like the only thing that's keeping you from, the outside world that's going on inside the car. Pat had a Wi-Fi hotspot so that he was able to work remotely. And then we also used that Wi-Fi hotspot as well when some of the venues Wi-Fi wasn't that great. So we used it to connect our iPads so that we can then, sell and have our merch store be up and running smoothly.
Another thing to be cognizant of when you're on the road is the time zones. There's Pacific time, Mountain time, Central time, and Eastern time. And it's as big as a 3-hour difference. As you're continuously changing cities each night, you start to forget what time zone you're in, and it can really mess with your work schedule, your load-in time, your sound check time, and even your live streams. I told the flight crew I was starting a live stream at 3 p.m. Pacific time, and when I signed on, because I didn't realize the time zone difference, I actually signed on at 2 p.m. Pacific time, and then I was wondering why everyone was yelling at me on Twitter, because I was an hour off. So when you travel, make sure you got your time zones down, because when you're waking up in one city and then falling asleep in another, it's really hard to keep track of.
We were gone for like 3 weeks, and it's important to cut back costs in as many ways as possible. Before we left, we went to Costco and we bought a lot of food in bulk, and then we ate that. We had protein shakes and protein bars that we would eat after the shows because we exert a lot of energy on stage, and so then to be able to have that boost backstage just sitting in your backpack was really handy. We also brought refillable water bottles so that we could keep drinking water and we didn't have to buy cases of water. About halfway through the tour, we were in Pennsylvania and we had run out of our bulk food. In order to continue to save money, we stopped at an Amish resale food store. It was called a bent and dent. It's in some way damaged or maybe slightly expired, but still totally edible and usable and good. And so things were ridiculously cheap. We got more cases of protein bars and jerky, some fruit and things like that. But that was a big way to cut back costs.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe below for new videos every Friday. And join our email list at the link below as well if you want to get free merch and find out when we're touring your city. We'll see you guys next week.